Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, we're going to be continuing on Salem's Lot with Nova and also James.
Hi.
Woo! We are here.
Yeah. And we're talking about part 2 today. Hopefully, the whole thing. We'll see how it goes. Maybe not. Uncertain. But it is the Emperor of Ice Cream.
We like ice cream.
Yeah, and we get two very random poems to start off this section, which I didn't understand. And listen, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very good with poetry, so I just kind of read them, and I'm like, wow.
Let me read him again because I've forgotten.
I feel
it's out there because with this book, King just pulls random poetry. Obviously, it's not as random, but it's it has some dealings in what in either what a character, how that character is. It could be based off that poem or just based off of a line off of there. Like, oh, I saw this. I'm going to base this character or this book off that one poem. It's not the first time King sat there and based, was it Child Roland to the Dark Tower or something like that, which was a epic poem. And he pretty much made 8 freaking books and called them the Dark Tower. So he took a poem and turned it in 8 books. So
yeah, I know they're supposed to be talking about death, but I didn't dissect them enough because
yeah, I casually goes through 4 years of college for creative writing and is still bad at dissecting poetry.
I take most things very literally. I'm not very good with symbolism. That's just my kind of thing. I don't like beating around the bush, and I feel like some poetry just that's the whole point of it, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah, some is very, very there is a hidden meaning and you have to hit all the metaphors in this to find the meaning.
Yeah.
And hi. Little too much.
Yeah. I like it
it's beautiful, but I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, I want it to be wrapped up at the end in a nice little bow, and I know what it was talking about.
I do like some where it has a little bit that you can kind of figure out, but when it's too much, it's I'm not here to work. Hi.
When sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go.
Just when they were saying oh, this is the Emperor of Ice Cream, is talking about death. When they later describe it to us, I'm like, how did you get that? Because I didn't know we were talking about death until you just told me we were talking about death. But okay.
Yeah, Emperor of Ice Cream. I feel if it's some reference that I don't understand, then obviously that. But I was like, that feels more like a happy thing than death.
But if you think about Ring Around the Rosie, that was about the Black Plague. But it sounds like such a nice, cheery song.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, just ice cream symbolically, too, is more happy.
True.
So it's yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Also, too, I just look at it as any other form of media or any other form of art. It's you just get there. You could look at a painting in a room full of people. You're probably going to get a different story with each person. So that's how I always look at poetry as well. It
very much is that.
When I read screenplays before I'd seen the movie, because I read Nightmare Alley before I saw the movie that Del Toro did. I read the screenplay for that movie, and when I read it, I could not see where they either casted this guy or that guy. It's your own interpretation of how you perceive the art. And then as you see someone else's interpretation, you're like, oh, wow. That's how I look at everything.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it's never a right or wrong answer,
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you're the high school English teacher and the curtains are blue, so they must mean something.
My high school English teacher was the fucking bomb.
Mine was too. Mine actually got me into the creative writing camp at the college I went to, and that's why I went there for creative writing.
Mine encouraged my writing. She
yes.
I had her freshman year and senior year, and she encouraged my writing, and I have no clue where that woman is nowadays, but I really do wish I could sit there and thank her.
Yeah, I sent her one of my books, and she sent a little thank you.
Aww.
I was like, you didn't need to thank me, but okay. No.
For me, it was like my 8th grade. I think it was 8th grade teacher. She was the bomb. But like my high school English teachers, I don't know. High school is not very memorable to me. So nothing really sticks out for me. A lot of them, because I was in a fast paced track, because I was doing college classes in high school, which is a dumb thing. And
I did a few
I
of those.
I did it the entire time I was in high school, starting freshman year. So I
Gross.
never got like high school experience. And that's one of my like gifted burnout is real, and I just keep going through it, you know?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I feel
I
that.
felt it yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish that I was saying this the other day. I was like, I wish I could be content working for someone else. Like I wish I could just be happy being employed and not be wanting to be an entrepreneur, because oh my god, is it hard?
Right. Oh my god. It is definitely
Yeah.
something. But
anyways, moving past that, let's talk about this book, guys.
The one
we
of
like
many
tangents.
side
What can we
stories.
say?
Yeah.
That's exactly what all this series has been, is side tangents and side tangents. If you
That's what
probably
makes it
really
fun.
cut down, if you cut down how much we actually talk about the book compared to just our own lives that surround this book, you'll get maybe 10% book.
Listen, if they wanted all the book, they would just listen to the audiobook. Them's the rules.
Exactly.
Them's the rules. Yeah, I like that.
We're here to discuss the book.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
Enjoy
there's not
the
going to
journey.
be other things.
Yeah. Everyone needs to learn to enjoy the journey,
Exactly.
not the destination. You'll get some of the book. Mostly you will learn about my trauma. Thanks.
Barely Bookish is rebranding.
Yeah.
Come learn
Barely
about Rachel's
Bookish is
trauma.
Yeah.
And sometimes her
trauma.
guests, if they feel like sharing.
Yeah. You want to just trauma dump on the listeners for a minute? Anyways, chapter 8, Ben. So Ben is woken up from his sleep by Eva, who's saying he's got a call. It's our homie, Matt Burke, calling. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's going to tell him about vampires, which, correct. I honestly, because I started reading this after we ended last week, I did not realize how much happened in part 2 until I was like rewriting my notes. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, the thing that I kind of noticed, and I noticed it a lot in Stephen King's books, is, and I think we mentioned it in the last recording, it's his act ones are super long. There is so much setup, especially for stories like this that convey a community. There is so much setup, and in the moment that like it's like, okay, I think I set enough up, like bam, he hits you with fucking everything, which is good because it doesn't feel like you're treading, through just mindless words. You're actually, there's something happening, and can't say that about Insomnia. I'm sorry, King, but yeah, this book right here, once you get into the Emperor of Ice Cream section, oh, it's fucking fun. It's the best part of the whole book next to the last bit.
Yeah.
It definitely went very fast. I was reading it some on my stream, and I got to a point where I had like 2 pages left of the chapter, and shit was getting real, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm jumping right back into another sprint. Suffer.
Yep.
Like, I have to finish this.
I feel that. So it's 4 a.m. Matt tells Ben to come fast and bring a cross because Ben doesn't have one. Because Matt doesn't have one, and Ben's like, I don't have one either. How am I supposed to get across? He goes, find one. Which
Right.
like, I love the no context at all that Ben is getting right now. I think it's fun. I also love having friends like that because I feel like if I called Nova in the middle of the night and I said, bring me a cross, and you'd be like, okay.
Okay, also low-key knowing you, if you're like, bring me a cross, I'd be like, all right, who is dying? Where? What are we doing? Are we hiding bodies? Do I need to bring a tarp? Like, what else do I need to bring? Because you asked for a cross.
You would open the back of your Kia Soul and they would just dump out garbage bags, holy water, harp, like rope, and a shovel, and you're like, I didn't know what all I needed. And they're like, did you bring clothes for the next couple of days? And you're gonna be like, no,
We'll deal with
I
that
did
later.
not.
I'll borrow some.
all I asked is a damn cross, not a whole fucking like grave robbing. Yeah.
But yeah, knowing you, if you called me asking for a cross, I'd be like, oh my god, what are we dealing with? Time to go.
You'd bring every book we have on vampires and just shove it into the car just in case we need a refresher.
Yeah, get a ton of garlic. Also, if I wasn't too sure, maybe, grab like a gun with some silver bullets or something just in case.
Just in case.
Go to Walmart, be like, I need silver bullet, or Cabela's or something. I need silver bullets. They'd be like, okay, what is this kid on? I'm clean, trust me. Maybe not after this.
There was a book that I read that actually fixed that issue. It was a werewolf book, and they didn't have time to make silver bullets, but the guy actually owned a old Civil War cannon, and so he took his wife's mother's fine silver, like silverware, and like I think whatever silver was around the house, and he fucking pumped it. And the whole damn time that he's sitting there and he's doing this, there's a werewolf climbing up the fucking stairs slowly, thinking, oh, you think that cannon's gonna kill me, blah blah blah. And then like the guy is just throwing everything, gunpowder, praying that for one, praying that this cannon actually works, because this thing has never been fired. And in the moment he does it, it's like the most nastiest freaking kill ever, where there are bits of forks and spoons and knives just blown. And it didn't kill the werewolf immediately, but like it ends up just trying to travel down the road, and then it just drops dead. And then the guy's like, oh my god, it's dead. But then like he's hearing his neighbors like get fucking shredded. But yeah, so I love that whole concept with silver bullets. It's like, what do you do when you don't have a silver bullet? Well, Christopher Bowman just told you, take your mother-in-law's fine fucking silverware, quite literally, and put it in a cannon.
Just go up with a fork. They're like, what are you doing with the fork?
Yeah, literally.
Damn. They'd be like, what the heck? Oh.
That's my silver fork to werewolf.
Throwing the fine silver.
They're like, what the heck? Here, let me come over here for a little bit.
Anyways, it's 4 a.m., so Ben goes to Eva's like, hey, can I borrow a cross? And Eva's like, I guess. Why? And he goes, well, Matt wants one. And she goes, he's not Catholic. And Ben's like, I don't know. Stop asking questions, Eva. The hell?
Ma'am, I got a phone call that said bring a cross.
Yeah.
What do you think I'm going to do?
I feel so bad for that woman, but yeah, like, just like, he's not Catholic. He's like, I didn't fucking ask to sit there and know this shit. It's like, just fucking give me a cross. And
maybe he's converting. He's calling me to tell me he's converting and he needs a cross.
Maybe. Yeah, 4 a.m. is the perfect time to convert, whatever.
Existential crisis about your religion and convert to a whole nother religion.
Yeah, but with a 60-year-old man, I think you're a long past that era of like, let's just cross over.
Listen, what time people start dying is when they start converting.
Well, when I die, I'll convert over to the metric system like the rest of the world.
As you should. As you should. That sounded like a jab. I also am not Christian, and I just want to throw that out there that I also wouldn't be converting. It's just statistically most people start converting when they start dying.
They go into existential crisis about what's afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's one that's easily understood of what is stated afterwards. So they're like, oh,
yeah,
I have answers.
Yeah. I'm not
people just start
practicing
hoping
currently, but I'm pretty sure on my deathbed. Okay, I'm practicing. What test am I supposed to be doing?
What test do I have to take? Can I tell you a Bible verse?
Yeah.
I know none.
About my procrastination, it'll be even with religion. I'll sit there and be not practicing till years on end, right to that final moment, and then that's when I'm going to cram everything that I'm supposed to be learning within a whole lifespan.
I lied. I know one verse.
I had to get confirmed and my first communion all on the same day.
The one I know is, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Literally just
Better
the
than
first
me.
line.
And I start singing the Big Bang Theory.
Right? All those years of, here, learn these Bible verses and memorize them. And that's the only one I remember.
All I
Is that-
remember
That was
is
it.
I got a friend named Jesus. Whatever that song is by the guy that's Jewish.
I have
Do you not know about that song where it's called like House
No.
on the Hill or whatever?
No,
Oh my god.
no.
Yeah, the writer of it is Jewish, but he thought people would like it better if he said Jesus, so he just kept it.
What's
Even
wrong
though
with
he doesn't
Moses?
believe in
That still
Jesus.
rhymes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
He thought people wouldn't like it as much. I am now realizing that I think it's my very Catholic training and upbringing that means I know that song because nobody else seems to.
I know a lot of more Christian songs, but they were more from like rock bands.
Yeah.
Ew. Like Skillet, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There were some other ones, but that's the people at the church we went to. They had grandkids into that stuff, so whenever the grandkids were visiting, they'd do more of those versus like actual hymns. And I was like, I prefer this anyway than the old hymns.
Yeah.
But he was like, okay, here
mean,
we
the
are
old
reading
school.
from an old book, and now we're
Yeah.
singing a rock. Oh, I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna question it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like, I like this better.
So, Eva gives the crucifix. Ben decides to get Ben leaves. And he puts it in his shirt because he's like ease of access. And when he gets there, Matt is absolutely freaking out. He's losing his goddamn mind. So after Matt explains the situation, Ben says that they should go up and take a look because, like, what else are you gonna do? 100% Mike, definitely a vampire now. This dude looks good as the day he was born. No blemishes at all. And they're like, if I didn't know better, I'd think he's sleeping. So Matt's like, dude, what should I do? Like, do you believe me? And Ben's like, I believe you. Why not? Like, I love this for Ben. What a supportive friend, first off. Because, most people, if you only knew them for maybe 48 hours, would not believe you. But I love that Ben's like, I'm on this journey with you, my guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that. So Ben's like, okay, what we gotta do is we gotta turn him into the doctors and then just see what happens. Because obviously if they bury this dude's body or do anything else, they're gonna look hella suspect.
Yeah.
But, it's a small town. They can't get away with murder. People saw Mike leave the bar with him last night. They know it was with him. What are you gonna do? So then they're like, after they bury him, we'll just go to the graveyard and see if he rises. So what else are you gonna do? So the cops show up and a doctor shows up. And he happens to mention that Mike looks a whole lot like Danny Glick's body. So, other confirmation, Danny's probably a vampire.
Yeah.
So when they shine the light in it, in the kid's eye, in the guy's eyes, his pupils contract, and they're like, "Oh, isn't it so weird that dead bodies do that?" I'm like, do they? Do they though? Like, I don't know if you guys ever did that to like.
No, I have never went to a dead body. Just
No,
to
not
show-
a dead body. I meant like family, like when they're sleeping and you just shine a light in their eyes because it's funny. I don't know when
No,
they would.
'cause it's punched.
I was the oldest. I do what I want. Wow.
Hold on.
Are you googling if a dead body's eyes contract? Because that's what I'm curious about.
I'm pretty sure like that's probably gotta be like a certain date thing. Like how like back then
Yes.
they believed that, like, oh, if like the body looks like flush with blood, like it just recently fed, but really they didn't have that information about
Mhm.
well, the blood's gotta go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then people automatically assume vampire. It's like, yeah, it's the medical science of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says dead human eyes can respond to light about scientifically proven up to 5 hours after they've passed.
Okay.
But that's still like when the whole body is actually shutting down, and for good this time, and
Yeah.
Yeah. It does do some weird things when you're dying anyway.
Poe kind of did more of an investigation of that when he did the facts in the cases of Vin Valdemar. But of course, in that story, he was trying to freeze the guy like right on the edge of death because he was dying of old natural causes, and he was looking at how the body would react. Though like some of it is like only like some truth to it, but obviously the speculation is you cannot keep some guy on near death for 8 freaking months without anything falling apart and everything. And
Yeah.
But
Fair. I mean, this book. The next thing though that's kind of wild to me is that the freaking guy just performs a whole medical exam right in this guy's house. Like, that seems kind of weird to me. Like, it seems kind of inconsiderate. And then he's like walking them through what he's doing. I mean, can you imagine how traumatizing that would be for someone? Like, if
didn't he get like something shoved up his butt or something in that scene?
Like a whole bunch of stuff.
I would feel very traumatized.
Like, wouldn't you just be like, hey, can you guys leave for a little bit?
Yeah.
I think there wasn't the same like restrictions and rules around that back then.
That's
as
fair.
Is now too. Because like your doctor used to come straight to your house. Like you never went to the doctor.
Yeah.
So
it's just
Parkins
weird to me.
was there, so I'm pretty sure Parkins wanted everyone present to make sure that Ben and Matt weren't conspiring some story. He wanted everyone in the whole room so he knew where everyone was at, and
Yeah, that also makes sense.
That was just weird. And then the cop's like, hey, Ben, I looked into you. And I'm like, it's weird that you'd reveal that. Someone's a suspect, but go off, I guess. And then they are talking about how they want to go to the Marston house to do like a fake little welcome wagon to try and figure out if they're actually killing people, as you do. And then as Ben is leaving, though, Floyd rolls up and like threatens to kill him, and then punches him in the face. So
he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which Buckwild, love that for him though.
I was like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming at some point.
Yeah,
Facts.
like sooner or later it was gonna have to be brought up of, you've been messing with my girl. And I was like, well, kind of technically you already ruined your shot before even the book began. So
Yeah,
otherwise Susan wouldn't have joined Ben. It's like you were already slacking. All you do is do like most of the young men of the town. You go out to the bar and just get drunk. It's like you shot yourself in the foot. It's
Susan
like,
thought you were boring. It is what it is.
You didn't write a book like Ben did.
So then we're on to chapter 9, Susan. Susie's mom is blaming Ben for Mike's death. And I'm like, why? Literally, why? What did he do?
As soon as she walked in this room and it was like, the mother was like, we need to talk. I was like, and here it comes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Susie's mom's like literally, oh, nothing bad ever happened here until Ben got here. So she's like, okay, like, girl, what?
Yeah.
And then she's also telling Susie that Ben killed his wife in the motorcycle accident and that he was drunk. And her reason she says he's drunk is because he got a breathalyzer test. Not what the breathalyzer test said, but the fact he had one means he must have been drunk. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's how that works, though.
But I do think in the story he was drunk. If I remember, he did have maybe not like blasted drunk, I guess, with how Susan's mom tried to sit there and portray him as, but he did have some drink in him, if I remember correctly.
I don't think it's said yet.
It
They
mentioned
brushed
it at
on
one point.
They brushed it
They
at the
were
beginning.
like, I remember in this section they were talking about at one point, it was like a wet road, and he went to like turn, and it slid, and that's how they crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I know so
but-
far.
Yeah.
That's haunting him, and then of course with how the town talks because of the one bitch that's always got the binoculars looking at everyone else's business,
Yeah.
and everything, and then talking with Susan's mom. It's like she's feeding Susan's mom all this shit, and then poor
Small
Susan,
town USA.
Yeah. If I was going for a writer retreat, I'd never do it in a small town. Sounds awful.
I'd much rather do that than the city because I would want somewhere quiet to work at, you know.
Yeah, I want to be in the woods in a cabin, no town.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
we talked about this before.
Yeah. With the bathroom. Very specifically.
A lot of small town stuff too is you don't really get it if you're a tourist.
Yeah.
Also
you get the sunny side of it. Like they're not going to drag you into the town drama.
I just don't want to be Ben here, you know? Come for a writing retreat, almost get eaten by a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. That doesn't sound like my idea of a good time. I also love that this is Stephen King's second novel.
Yep.
Like,
and
he's like,
there's so much of what's written in this story. It's echoed in so many other, you know, books of his and everything. He legit borrows a lot from his older, like his first 5 or so books.
mm-hmm.
And if you really just look at those books themselves and then look at some of his other, it's like, oh yeah, he definitely, you know, which there's nothing wrong with it. You look back at your greatest hits and you're like, okay, what works? What can I write a new spin on it? Okay, I can do that. And, you know, the Dark Tower, again, you know, I'll always bring this up because it's my favorite series, but a lot of what's in Salem's Lot pops up in Dark Tower, especially how some characters act and everything, like the mother being overbearing on the daughter, you know, with the Nortons. You see that in Dark Tower book 4 with the aunt and her niece and everything, and you know, she's all like, you know, you're just being a whore with that new boy in town, and it's like, oh my god, it's like you're just a horrible human being because you're just selling her off so you don't lose your house. That's pretty much the only reason you're doing this. And you know, spoiler alert for those who haven't read Dark Tower, but
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta do what works, I guess.
Yeah,
it's like how people are talking about how there's like a big trend. Well, it's been this way probably since like 2010, but writing for what sells. So like when all the vampire werewolf books came out, when all the dystopian books came out, and they're all very similar, it's because that's what was selling. It's what's in demand. So,
yeah,
that's always though, you know.
That's what publishers will pick up.
Yeah.
You have something off the beaten path, they're less likely to look at it.
Yeah. So I get it.
Even though that's probably the best book of the ones that were sent in, but you know.
Yeah.
But most people are gonna sit there. They're gonna look at like, oh my god, I enjoy this book. I want to have something kind of similar to this, and then that's when they go and they look at like, oh god, these are nowhere near as good as the book that I started with, and you know, it starts losing its value.
Yeah.
I tried someone's book that was on Book Talk, and they're like, oh, my book by the worst review. You know, sometimes the review is super bad because it's like people don't they don't read the trigger warnings or whatever. So they're like, this book is just like a ripoff of ACOTAR, and they're like, they said something, oh, you can't have any Fae books now without it being a ripoff of ACOTAR. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll give it a try. I like Fae books. I read that shit. Ripoff of ACOTAR. Like, to the point where it's like she finds this man the exact same way Feyre finds Hamlin. Then this scene happens, which is Feyre and if you haven't read the series, I'm not going to give you spoilers, but like the court scene, okay? That shit happens. I'm like, oh my god, like this is fully a ripoff, and I couldn't even finish it. I got like 40% of the way in, and I was like, this is so badly written. and like just fully a ripoff. That I'm like, okay, I get writing what sells. Like, please, for the love of God, do some editing. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
To quote Chris Tucker, Steven Spielberg about to sue, or George Lucas is about to sue a bitch. There we go. That's what it was from Jane Silent Bob. I hate when people do that. I even
Yeah.
see it with movies where they hit like these beats. Now, like there are certain movies like the rip off of Jaws where they just do like it's man versus nature.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
like Jaws came out, and then after that you got shit like Tremors and Lake Placid. Those are very different. But if you just release another killer shark movie and
Yeah.
then just try to call it something else, it's like, dude, you're not even trying. It's like
Yeah.
Literally.
there's so much in the aquatic ecosystem. You probably would have gotten away with doing a megalodon just because you would have raised the stakes a little bit higher. But yeah,
Bring something
it's
different. Bring something
Exactly.
unique. Make it
No.
yours, and then I'm
There's
cool with it.
there's no original ideas. There's just original ways of doing it.
Yeah, it's
That's what we're taught.
your voice itself is the original selling point.
Yeah.
Susie's mom just keeps roasting Susie, and Susie's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm moving out. And love that for Susie. Obviously,
Mhm.
that doesn't last long, but we'll get there soon.
I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah. And then Susan slaps her mom across the face.
Yes.
I was so happy about that.
Me too. I was like, get that consequence.
The consequences of my actions.
And
I
then
don't know, I
we.
think it
Sorry.
lasted pretty damn good for her. She had the better outcome compared to her freaking mother.
Hmm.
And then Floyd apparently put Ben in the hospital. And then Susan's like, literally, hey, yeah, is your good boy such a good boy anymore? He put Ben in the hospital for no reason.
I liked that as she's walking out and be like, yeah, sure, Mom.
Yeah,
Such a
sounds
nice
great.
guy.
Really, really just sit there and fucking let it burn.
Good. So Ben tells Susan to go to Matt and that he loves her and that also she should probably start locking the windows. And Susan is so, like, starts being so stupid about the entire vampire stuff. So first of all, she says Straker's hot, which, like, why? Go off, but also why? And then Matt confirms to her that Hubie,
Hubie,
Mars,
Hubba
yeah, Hubba was definitely into devil worship. I always forget that, 70s and 80s was very into devil worship. Don't know why they were so worried about it, but
Hubie was in the. I think most of his actions were in the 40s, but I want to sit there and say close to the 50s was when he died.
yeah. No, I mean, like, the writing, like, because...
Oh, yeah, the satanic panic of the era.
Yeah, I forget that happened every time until it somehow gets brought up in, like, something I'm reading at that point, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they were, like, really worried about it.
And, like, now they're your neighbors and they're your, town counselors. They're nice people.
I don't understand what happened for people to be like, oh my god, the devil is awakening, and you're just like,
American
what?
Christianity, pretty much. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We feel threatened. Another religion is coming into our country, and yeah.
Wild. People are
I'm gonna get
crazy. I did find it mildly boring that Susan is not the believing type. I was like, girl, why not? First of all, what's it gonna hurt? Truly. You don't have to tell anybody you believe if that's what you're worried about. But, like, also bring some joy into your life. Why not?
I think this brings the opposite of joy,
Well,
but
I think then though the book would get boring afterwards because where Matt is like a firm believer, he firmly believes that I know exactly what I saw, and then Susan's all like, "But is it?" It's like it's this hysteria of the kids going missing, and and then Ben's in the middle where Ben's like, "I do believe, but I also want to sit there and go through all of these different freaking scenarios to make sure,
Yeah.
are we just not fighting a plague epidemic? because
Yeah.
again, the book layers it pretty damn well. About is this the stuff that's killing the Glick boy and everything, and like is it spreading and how far and how fast. And so
Yeah.
one thing I really like, yeah, you figured Susan would be the believer and maybe Matt would be the non-believer, but due to the scenario that those characters are in,
Mm-hmm.
it makes somewhat sense and everything. But yeah,
Yeah. She
Fair.
feels very like a logic type of, I need to go
Yeah.
through, if there's even the slightest chance this is not it, then like,
Yeah.
okay, now we're believing in ghost stories here when this could explain it just as well. So like,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
she's also the type that it's like, I'm still gonna support you through this.
yeah.
Fair.
But
like
are you sure?
for my mental well-being, I want all of my friends to throw logic out the income at all times.
Like actually shoot someone with a silver bullet, and you're like, oh shit, he's not turning.
I want, if I say I saw a werewolf, I want you to be like, yeah, where? Can I also see said werewolf? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I want. That's the kind of what is that? When people love you without bounds. What's that called?
Unrequited?
Nope. Like a parent's love, they say, without limits.
No, not unconditional.
Unconditional. That is the word I was looking for.
Okay,
I want
okay.
someone to believe me unconditionally to be my friend. I just want me to be like, hey, this shit happened, and you to be like, what the fuck? Wild. Tell me all about it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I have tea time, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like what we kind of keep having every time we do these. Tea
yeah,
time.
it's fine.
She just randomly calls me and is like, I have tea. And that's how she opens the phone call. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
So someone's in Matt's house. Turns out it's Mike. He's lying on the bed again. Keep in mind, Susan and Matt are at his house right now. So yeah, Mike, 1000% a vampire. And he's like, go teacher, I'm gonna kill you. And then Matt's like, be gone. Skr, skr. And so he basically revokes access to Mike, which makes Mike fly out of the house, down the window, land on the grass, and then Matt, having the only sane and proper reaction, has a full heart attack.
Yeah.
What a vibe. I would also be terrified.
To me, I still think this is the best scene in the whole fucking book. With, he wakes up, he finds him right there. There's nothing more eerie than to have already one night had a dead man in your fucking house. Mm-hmm. Just to like, oh, I hear something upstairs, and the fucker is back in and everything. And the Toby Hooper TV miniseries made great work of this scene and everything, especially like how the vampire would hiss teacher, and it's just like the eyes, and it's the whole scene. And every time that I read this scene, I see that exactly verbatim, and it's still gotta be the most haunting scene ever to have that,
Yeah. My little theory at this point was they were purposely trying to get everybody in the hospital so that they no longer have to ask for access. That is my theory.
Because like it feels like at this portion of the book now, it seems like the whole HQ section to like, we need to find where everyone's at so we know where everyone's at. Oh, let's stack up in the hospital.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it for the rest of the book.
Yeah,
everybody just can vibe in the hospital apparently, but like no one owns the hospital, so they don't have to ask anybody for access.
Yeah, except for Dr. James Cody, of course.
Well, here's the thing though, is that Mike was actually able to give Danny access, so it doesn't have to be the homeowner; it's just someone.
You're talking about the access to the home.
Yeah.
Well,
see, that one's extremely hard, because especially like if you're someone that's always been welcome to this building, and then bam, you get turned into a vampire. You can just easily walk into there. And, yeah. Okay, my bad. A little miscommunication.
Well, I just thought about it, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and also too, who's gonna sit there and revoke? So you cannot come here no more at this hospital. It's like revoke the invitation.
I don't know.
Right?
unless you count a firing. It's like, I don't want to see your ass around here again. And that counts as the revoke.
I don't know.
If you step foot on this property, I'm calling the cops.
I'm dead.
I put a note down about the ambulance phone number.
What was it?
It was like a full-on phone number. He was like, call the ambulance. Here's the number. And then hangs up. And I was like, oh, the ease of 911.
Yeah. Thank God.
Because it came out, 911, I think, got deemed in like 68. So it wasn't like completely everywhere.
Yeah.
About this time. So it was just funny to me of, here's a full-on phone number. Call them to get the ambulance here. I'm like, oh. Okay.
I couldn't imagine.
I would promptly forget the number. They'd hang up and I'd be like, shit. What was it again?
Yeah, right? I don't know how people used to memorize phone numbers because it can't be me. Like
I still remember landline.
Yeah. I remember my landline. I remember... So my parents used to have 2 phone numbers, and then my mom's job started paying for her work. So I memorized my parents' phone numbers. And when that happened, when my mom got a job that paid for her work, she gave it that phone and the phone number to my youngest sibling. So now I have their phone number memorized, but I don't know my mom's phone number ever anymore because after that point, like I had a cell phone and just caller ID. So
when I was
it.
young in town, because obviously the towns would have the same like code, we'd literally walk around and be like, what's your phone number? And we'd give each other the last 4 digits, and that was it. That's all people would give each other in town, was the 4 digits. Now, obviously, with cell phones, you have to give the full number. But with landlines, it was like, oh, that was easy. Just, hi, call me. This is my number.
Yeah, Florida's a tourist state. I've never had that. Like, I've always had to get also area code. Because nobody in Florida is from Florida, pretty much.
Yeah, in working in retail, I'd have to get the area code all the time. But yeah, when we were children, elementary school children, it was, you just needed the last 4 numbers.
Do you remember when you'd have like certain times you were allowed to call like cell phones versus landlines when you first got cell phones? I remember.
I think it was like past 7 p.m. and you got unlimited minutes and everything. Yeah.
So you'd like
coordinate. You want to remind me about dial-up internet too, and really sit there and put a number on my age?
We didn't have internet until I was like 13 at my parents'. At that point, it was past dial-up, but it was like...
It was that crossover, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the weird... Worked better than dial-up, but not as good as today.
I remember when I used to have to boot up my dad's laptop to play Wizard 101, and I would start it, and then I'd go make myself lunch. And I'd come back and be on.
The desktop at my parents' house was so old that, like, you'd turn it on, and it'd be like... Nice thing of silence. Starting! 30 minutes later, still says starting! And I would get to the desktop and you had to wait another 30 minutes just to do anything because it was still trying to figure itself out.
Yeah.
When I got my first desktop, my dad somehow changed my mouse to look like a little dragon. And I never knew how he did that. But I loved it so much. It looked like a little wizard wand, and when I clicked on things, a little dragon would appear.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild.
I loved doing that. I knew, like, all the, like, weird things like that because I did not have internet, so I'd literally just go on the computer and, like, mess around with settings.
Yeah. I did, recently, I just had to get a Google Chrome extension for Google Docs to make the cursor a different color because on my friend's computer, I could not see the cursor of where I was typing for unknown reasons. And then I was like, hey, Google, how do I fix this? And it was like, if you change your font color to black, it'll be black. And I'm like, bullshit, because it's black and there's no cursor. So I downloaded the first cursor I found, which was a rainbow cursor. So now it's rainbow.
Aw, nice.
Very cute. It makes me happy. It brings me joy.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anyways, Salem's Lot. So, chapter 10, The Lot. We find out that apparently Hubie's wife begged him to kill her. Don't know why yet. Maybe it'll be revealed. Unknown.
I was like,
Yeah. Maybe because she was turning into a vampire?
No.
Well, we don't know yet. No spoilers. We'll get there.
I'm not spoiling, but like,
Well, who knows? Let us theorize. Let us be wrong. It's
okay.
fine.
let's be wrong.
So, Floyd, 100% a vampire. We find out that vampire Danny drank the infant blood. Don't know why, because
Yep.
it's not like there's much blood there anyways.
That was interesting. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. We're going for the baby, I guess.
Like sucking the juice out of like one little grape. It's like, it's
Yeah.
like,
Right?
it's an appetizer, you know. It's like I got Mike, but I'm still hungry, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Nope.
I felt so bad for that scene. Any scene with the child, and then that family just in general. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it's
yeah.
messed up. We also find out that Danny is sucking his mom's blood, which has Freud turning over in his grave a little bit, you know. So Ben is talking with Susan. Susan basically feels like she can't believe everything going on, and Ben's like, listen, don't use the word can't anymore. Which, good little thought experiment, kind of fun.
Don't worry. Things my therapist says to me almost every time. Don't use the word can't.
You know,
A good rule.
it's like the same thing about, you know, it's called trash can, not trash cannot, and it's like
Amazing.
I forgot what's the full TikTok, but it's all like, you know, it's like it's something about like, you know, just because you're garbage doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's called trash can, not trash cannot, and it's like, oh my fucking god,
I love that.
Amazing.
We do get this scene at the dump where it's just completely silent. Dud, probably vampire, but definitely missing. And then we find out that Reggie figured out that his wife Bonnie is cheating on him and rolled up with a shotgun.
Yes,
That
oh my
scene.
god.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they kind of changed that a little bit in all the adaptations because this one kid doesn't really kind of pop up all too much. But yeah, the whole scene where, you know, he's coming in, he's flirting. No lie, I think of like the old 70s porns where it's like the pizza delivery guy or it's the plumber. And it's like, why did it feel like Stephen King? Maybe like in a hotel room when he turned the TV on, it went to like some like weird porn. And he's all like, I'm going to write that in one of my stories. The town skank is going to have the fucking telephone line boy come over.
It was so cringy. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's very much funny, like where it's all like, oh, he tried to rape me. And it's like, really? That does not look anything.
Yeah, girl, what
like,
the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, I was like, come on, be like a little bit more like act
Creative?
a little better. You know? Yeah, be creative and everything, because obviously your husband's been watching.
Yeah, he's
the
not
whole damn
stupid.
time. And I mean, yeah. And yeah, it like when I read that part for the first time, I'm like, what? It's like, you know, she was looking to cover her own damn ass, and she fucking failed at it. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, but
Yeah.
yeah,
mm-hmm.
And then then they decide, he's like, oh, he made it, Corey put like the gun in his mouth as if he was gonna make him kill himself. And then he's like, just kidding. And Corey's just like shitting his pants.
Mm-hmm.
I would too.
Yeah.
Me too. I thought, okay, so then they like kind of like, I guess he fired a blank because they said like, it sounded like they said the gun went off.
He fired it dry.
I don't know what that means.
There's nothing in it.
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He just like cocked it and pulled the trigger, so that like goes like it would hammer to shoot it,
Okay.
but it doesn't
Yeah.
hit anything.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not loaded. He only did it just to fuck with the kid, and then just pulling the trigger right there was just enough to scare the kid off. That maybe the next time he won't get so damn lucky if he gets stuck in the same situation again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the blank is also, it has the shell, so it would shoot
Oh,
the shell. There's just no like bullet in it, so it's just like
so it's
so
still
like a
gonna hurt real
shotgun.
bad.
It's like the plastic casing, so it doesn't go
The
far.
blank's kinda like, yeah, it's like a rubber bullet almost. That's what killed the Crow's lead actor. Was someone fired off a blank and it hit him in the head and took him out. So yeah, just because it's a blank don't mean that it's not fatal. Because
Yeah, you see it like military or cop or fire, like any funeral they shoot in the air, they're shooting blanks, and then you can they'll pick up the casings afterwards, kind of thing.
It's kind of
I
weird.
always wonder where the hell where those blank rounds go. Because they shoot it up in the area. All I can think of is some poor ass bird. Or
It doesn't go far.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, the casing is meant to, like, it leaves the barrel and then not, depending on the type, if it leaves the barrel, it only goes so far, and then it would technically eject the bullet, so they don't go far.
Okay, good.
A lot of them also, it stays in the barrel, and then it just pops out. When you, like,
let's see, I learned something today. Other than that, I was thinking, like, there's some poor asshole that's having the worst day of his life, and then all of a sudden, 7-gun salutes coming from far away, and it's like, oh, your day's about to get worse, buddy.
It's kind of like when you see, like, a rocket launch, like, it launches, and then, like, not too far up, a piece comes off.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay.
See that article that came out, and they're like, please stop firing guns straight up in the air on the 4th of July, you stupid asshole. You've seen that?
Like,
yep, there are people that'll do that. Or they play roulette with a bow and arrow.
I saw them do that at Grown Ups.
Yeah. That actually sounds like fun. I think I would actually, no lie, and I don't do shit like this, but when I saw Grown Ups and I saw that, I was like, you know what? That would be actually very fun. I just got to sit there and look to see where I can run that has the most trees and everything. Not in the open field like what they did, or like the open area, I'd be heading for the trees,
Case study of why men die first.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm not interested in most of this other stuff, but when I saw that scene, I was like, oh my God, that actually looked fun, Yeah. It's probably like the one time I'll ever sit there and say there's something outdoorsy I enjoy fucking doing.
Dodging arrows.
Dodging arrows.
Listen, I played dodgeball and I know how bad I was at that, so I'm definitely not thinking of trying
I played wall ball and took a freaking tennis ball right to the freaking eyebrow and everything, and I was like just not even a foot away from the damn wall, and that bitch came right back and hit me, and that's like, oh my God. And then on, coach was like, no, you can't play this game anymore. It's like, you're going to give each other a fucking head concussion.
Yeah. There's that one kid that takes it way too serious and like almost murders every single person on the opposing team.
Hit me in the freaking damn eyebrow. He took it way too serious because I got him in the last one because he tried to race and I pegged him, right in the kidneys with it. I was like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, he got me back, which I sat there and I was like, that's fair. That's fucking fair. And
I hated my first high school gym class because it was like, I think I was a freshman. And it had like all the senior boys, and they did the like, oh, who can hit each other the hardest contest.
Oh my God.
But it almost never would hit them.
Yeah.
I would come home with welts and bruises. And I'm like, why are we playing this when you can't hit each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's why I was in my teenage dirtbag era. I was not a participant in anything.
I need to see that TikTok.
I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Yeah, I don't
have no pictures of me as a teenager, so you'll never see that trend from me.
Right. Mine, I was too busy trying to impress people.
No.
So I don't have those photos because I was only taking what I thought was decent ones.
Yeah, my teenage dirtbag era was mostly middle school. And it's a lot of me looking very emo, but like on a budget. Like emo on a budget, and my parents had to approve of my outfit choices. So I was very limited. It was all black, yes, but at what cost? That was the vibe.
It's like
Yeah.
navy black or something like that, or
No, it was
I
like
don't think I'd
black
even
band t-shirts.
remotely have any
Oh.
photos like that. Just because of that of I was bullied so much. I was like, all my photos gotta be like model. So people will like me.
my stuff
Yeah.
was like wrestling signs and everything, and like grunge apparel. That was mine. you know.
Amazing.
Everyone
Yeah.
always sat there and told me to get out of Texas and go up to fucking Seattle, you fucking hippie.
See, I was bullied a lot, and then I just made a lot of threats to people. So, yeah, that's
Now
a
you
story
write
for
it in
later.
your book.
Yeah, gang. I'll see if I can find one of my friends tagged me in one of the funniest teenage dirtbag photos. So if I find it, I'll send it to you all.
Amazing. Please do.
Yeah.
It has to be the thumbnail of this episode, though.
Oh God, no. Worst comes to worst, I'll put it on Instagram or some shit, but like it's not going on thumbnail.
Amazing.
But anyways, book because we don't have much more time. All right. So totally didn't actually kill Corey. Corey's alive, but he's like, if you ever come back to this town and show your face again, I will actually kill you. And Corey's like, oh my God. So he leaves, which, you know, my big thing is I feel like you should blame your spouse more than you blame the person you're sleeping with, but whatever. Also, it sounds
Both
like
people are at fault. Both people are at fault.
yeah, I mean, if you're knowingly getting into someone
Yeah.
that you know is
Yeah.
married,
If you're
absolutely.
knowingly, yes.
I'm
If you
assuming
don't
he
know-
knows. Yeah.
he
I
knows.
still feel
'cause-
like you should be more angry at your partner than at the person they're sleeping
For
with.
letting them to allow that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyways, it sounds like Bonnie's getting beat up, which is kind of fucked up, but also like, you know. Anyways, moving on.
Oh, it gets far worse. No spoilers, but it gets far fucking worse when you
Oh,
pick back
God.
up on them.
Oh God. So Barlow says to Corey that he thinks American cities are gross, which mood. But he's like, I went with Salem Slot because it's a small town and my homie is here anyways. Well, it was. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
So Corey is very into everything Barlow's saying, which probably means he's in a trance. Or, you know, he's in shock. So now we get Corey
Or both.
Vampire. Or both. Possible both. We get Corey Vampire, which is just not great at all. And then my thought was like, what is he going to do if he turns the entire town into vampires? Because then he doesn't have a food source.
They spread out. My whole thing is that he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And so it's like he keeps finding all these small towns, and then he moves farther away into another small town. And so it's almost like, at least for this time, because he still couldn't do it at this era, not with the way how social media and everything is, and everyone has a camera. It's that he's been doing this for a long time, but only doing it at small little towns across the world and everything. Because again, it's all hush hush, and they do make a mention with Matt later on where they talk about, you know, how like some towns turn into ghost towns and then people wonder whatever happened there. And then they start talking about more like just was it like myth, like, oh, this is the reason why this town went under, when in reality that's not how it's just what local urban legends and everything say. So that's how I figured that's how Barlow's been sustaining himself. He's been hopping around from small town or small village, whatever, and he's just been feeding on the little people, not so much the big people and everything, and because that'll give way too much attention.
It just astounds me that, like, maybe it's just because I'm antisocial, but if I was a vampire, I would turn nobody, because then it's like we have a connection, and I don't want that. You know?
Well, they have a connection. You probably don't. Let's hope you don't, and everything, because that's going to be a bitch to sit there, you know, oh, I'm just sleeping, getting in my good Z's, and then, like, the guy I just turned last week gets fucking staked.
Yeah. I'd be like, what the hell?
Like,
right.
That dude didn't fucking share his casserole recipe with me neither. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, they'd be like,
He was supposed to fix my roof, damn it.
Yeah, damn it. I'd be like, why are you turning all like they'd have like the vampire conference and they have like most of the time it's like people refer to the people they turn as their family. They're like, yeah, I just added like 30 new members to my family. And it would just be me and Daniel. And I'd be like, you did what? Fucking cringe. Anyways. It's like those people that say they like love having children. It's the only thing that brings them joy in their life.
Mhm.
Why?
Obviously, this person's never picked up a book.
I'm like, maybe it's just the fact that I don't really want kids, but it's like, you could just spend on your money on like European vacations, right? Like, that is an
Mhm.
option.
What a mood.
And if you want kids later, there's always adoption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would adopt a kid if they were like 13. That seems like a decent age.
That's a good age too, because a lot of kids that age get looked over.
Yeah, I don't want a child. The child part is gross. Like, by that point, it's like you're mostly self-reliant. Like, you'd be like, hey, how you
Yeah.
feeling about things? Cool? Good? Okay. You have fun over there.
You just give us finger guns. Like,
Yeah.
You good? Yeah.
Good.
Like that cool dad. Yeah, you good? Yeah.
That's my energy is wine aunt or cool dad, and that's all I've got. Anyways,
Oh my god.
so Ben tells Susan, you should leave town. Like, things are not looking good. We should probably leave town, and you should probably get a crucifix. And Susan's like, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, Susan, you buffoon.
Yeah.
You already talked about wanting to move to New York. Just speed that process up a little bit.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they like go and we get to see the morgue a little bit. For some reason, they decided to include the sexuality of the man that died, just for random things. I don't know why they did that, but go off, I guess. And then they were like, yeah, all those bodies and also the body of the infant, gone. And I'm like, okay. So we get more confirmation, vampire. But that also means baby vampire. And there's nothing more terrifying to me than a infant that's going to be an infant forever. Disgusting.
Yeah, it kind of throws you back to Interview with the Vampire when
I haven't read that yet.
Oh. Thank God she stopped me.
That's on the list to read. That is on the list to read.
That was
movie's
funny.
been out since 1994, I think.
Yeah, but also, okay, fine. Do you want to speed that up? We can do that next, and then
Oh my god!
is it just going to be all of us for fall vibes?
Apparently,
I don't
Wait.
have that book, so
I might give my
I don't have
friend
it either.
interview with. Hold on, I should probably text her. So, Vampire Danny is visiting that kid Mark, and Mark is trying to fight the compulsion, which this kid is a badass. Let me just say that from the get-go. He's like,
Right?
oh, if he's convincing me with his words, you know what I gotta do? Just talk really loud. What a vibe. That's what I do when I'm uncomfortable.
It was just, he's like, nope, not listening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like a cross. Come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. He's like, hope this works. So, that he picks up the cross, and Vampire Danny gets burned and has to dive out the window. And then 10 minutes later, Mark is asleep and gripping the cross. What a vibe. What a vibe.
Real hero here.
Truly. But yeah, that's the end of our reading today. Thank you guys for joining me.
Of course.
Yeah. Nova, where can the people of the internet find you and your stuff?
I always hate this question every time you ask. You can pretty much find me anywhere at Novasaurus Rex with 2 X's, and pretty much you can find anything of me from there. Most things are connected. And I have a link tree that hasn't been updated in a while, but it's there.
Gothic, where can the people of the internet find you and your stuff?
Gothic Storyteller, mostly on Twitch, Instagram, and most of the socials. Twitter is the Gothic Wafer. Do not ask why, but yeah, they stole my name on Twitter, so
Rip.
Yeah. So you can find me on there where, I just shit post on everything.
A vibe.
That's where we're going. That's where we're going. We're shit posting everywhere.
But thank you guys for joining me, and we will catch you all in the next chapter. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. If you want to find me, I am at Barely Bookish on everything. I'm on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the good normal things, all the fun social medias. And I also have a Patreon, so please consider joining that. You can join for as low as $1 a month, and you get access to a lot of great bonus content. And next week we will be moving on with even more Salem Slot. So I hope you all enjoy that, and have a great week. Our logo is designed by my little sibling Sarah. Our theme song was by Raphael Crux, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye!